Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a chilling piece of ancient source material that honestly reads exactly like a highly calculated true crime thriller. We're looking at a story of absolute deception, intense psychological manipulation, and a completely ruthless political assassination plot. The anatomy of this ancient conspiracy really proves that ruthless political ambition? Yeah, it's a tale as old as time. We're going to examine a text detailing the construction of what is essentially a weaponized building, a house of lack, designed for one singular, horrifying purpose: the complete eradication of political rivals. Let's get right into it. Exterminates my foes by a clever device. That chilling command right there is what sets everything in motion. The man speaking is Duryodhana, a powerful and, quite frankly, wicked Kuru prince. He's speaking in absolute secrecy to his most trusted counselor, a man named Purochana, and the source text gives us this incredibly fascinating detail about their meeting. Duryodhana actually summons Purochana in private and physically takes hold of his right hand before delivering these instructions. It's this intimate, intense, and deeply sinister moment where the seed of a massive conspiracy is officially planted. All right, Section 1, a plot in the shadows. Now notice the stark contrast here between the public facade and the private reality. On one hand, we have the official story, right? The king, Dhritarashtra, has commanded the Pandavas, who are Duryodhana's rivals, to travel to the city of Varanavata. The public decree is completely innocent. They're supposedly just being sent there to enjoy themselves during the local festivities. It sounds like a royal vacation. But behind closed doors, the private reality is that Duryodhana is using this very decree as the perfect cover to plot their murder with Purochana. He is literally twisting a public celebration into a private execution. So, you might be wondering, how does a prince convince his counselor to commit such an atrocity? Well, with the ultimate bribe. Duryodhana tells Purochana, "This world, so full of wealth, is mine, but it is thine equally with me." He's securing Purochana's absolute loyalty by promising him a 50-50 split of the world's wealth and power. He tells Purochana that he has literally no one more trustworthy to consult with, binding him not just with raw greed, but with this twisted sense of duty, telling him he must protect this shared wealth. Moving on to Section 2, Blueprints of a Trap. Duryodhana's architectural instructions are highly specific. He orders Purochana to travel to Varanavata in a car drawn by swift mules, and to immediately erect a very specific kind of structure. It must be a quadrangular palace, and its location is absolutely key. It's to be built in the neighborhood of the arsenal. This strategic location is requested right alongside the strict mandate that the mansion has to be guarded well from any prying eyes. Because this isn't just a building, it's a giant structural bomb. Duryodhana explicitly commands the use of all procurable inflammable materials. Listen to this list: hemp, resin, clarified butter, oil, fat, lac, and wood. He orders these materials to be scattered all around the house. We are visualizing a staggering, almost unbelievable amount of highly combustible fuel being deliberately built right into the very foundation and framework of a royal residence. He even gives precise chemical instructions for the walls themselves. Purochana is instructed to mix a little earth with clarified butter, oil, fat, and, notably, a large quantity of lac, which, if you didn't know, is a highly flammable, naturally occurring resin. They are to use this concoction as a plaster for lining the interior walls. The house is quite literally sweating fire starter from its pores. But here's the catch. The mandate for disguise is absolute. The materials must be integrated in such a way that the Pandavas, or any others, may not even with scrutiny behold them there or conclude the house to be an inflammable one. It has to be a flawless illusion. Even if the Pandavas actively inspect their new home, the deadly nature of the architecture has to remain completely invisible, hiding in plain sight. Which brings us to Section 3, the perfect cover-up. The deception goes way beyond just the architecture. It extends right into the hospitality. Duryodhana instructs Purochana to furnish the mansion with seats, conveyances, and beds, all of the absolute best workmanship. The text says he must cause the Pandavas to dwell in it by worshipping them with great reverence. Why all this luxury? 2 reasons. First, to completely lull the Pandavas, their mother Kunti, and all their friends into a false sense of security. And second, so that King Dhritarashtra back home will have absolutely no reason to complain about how his guests are being treated.
It is a masterful, sickening level of manipulation.
Okay, let's step through the grim execution strategy that Duryodhana maps out here. It's a chillingly premeditated 4-step process. Step 1. Erect the dangerous palace, keeping the local people of Varanavata completely in the dark until the very end. Step 2. Welcome the targets with ultimate reverence. Step 3, and honestly, this is the most cold-blooded part. Just wait. Purochana has to assure himself that the Pandavas are sleeping in confidence and without fear. And Step 4. Once they are deeply asleep and feel entirely safe, set fire to the mansion. And note this specific, brutal instruction. Begin the fire at the outer door. By starting the blaze at the main exit, they instantly cut off any chance of escape. And here is the master stroke of the whole terrifying endeavor: plausible deniability. Duryodhana states matter-of-factly that the Pandavas must be burnt to death. But he immediately addresses the public perception. The people will say that they've been burnt in an accidental conflagration of their house. Because they masked the flammable materials so well, and because they showered the victims in all that luxury, the public will view this targeted political assassination as nothing more than a tragic, unforeseen accident. It's a calculated plan to manipulate history itself with the ultimate PR spin. Section 4. The plan in motion. After absorbing all of these horrific, incredibly detailed instructions, the bribery, the weaponized architecture, the manipulation, and the cold-blooded murder of sleeping guests, this is Purochana's entire response. So be it. 3 words. It is a chillingly brief acceptance of a monstrous assassination mission. There's no hesitation, no moral debate, just a cold, hard agreement to execute the prince's will. And Purochana wastes absolutely no time. The text tells us that immediately after saying those words, he departs for Varanavata. Just as Duryodhana instructed, he travels in a car drawn by fleet mules, going without loss of time. He is utterly obedient, and the gears of this conspiracy are now turning at full speed. Which brings us to a final, lingering question for you to chew on. The trap is now officially set. The weaponized palace of lack will soon be built. The assassins are in motion, armed with lethal chemistry and a totally perfect alibi. But will the Pandavas walking straight into this luxurious death trap see through the illusion before that outer door is set ablaze? It's a masterful piece of ancient suspense that forces us to wonder if truth can survive when deception is built right into the very walls themselves. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.